Hey everyone, it's Michael Groff here to talk to you about your roof. With an active monsoon season expected this year, you need a name you can trust, and that's why you should call Blackstone Roofing Group for all of your roofing needs. Call for your free inspection today. Big or small, they do it all. Tile, shingle, or flat roofing, they can help, offering free inspections and more. Roofing made easy. Call 602-536-9363 or visit blackstoneroofinggroup.com to schedule your free inspection today. And if you tell them Michael Groff sent you, they'll take $500 off the price of your roof replacement. Again, that's 602-536-9363 or blackstoneroofinggroup.com. This is the Phoenix, Arizona weather discussion for Wednesday, the 30th of July. I'm Michael Groff. Dry conditions continue with temperatures above average once again here in the valley today. Widely scattered late afternoon and evening showers and thunderstorms will be present over parts of east central and southeast Arizona today. Slight increase in the number of storms expected tomorrow. But what about the chance of any storms here in the valley? It sure hasn't been looking good. Do we have any changes to our forecast for today? What about the weather for this weekend? Yes, we're going to have continued hot temperatures, but just how hot? What about that monsoon activity as we move forward into the month of August? Yeah, we'll talk about all of that. Plus, there was, I'm sure you've heard by now, a big earthquake just off the Kamchatka Peninsula yesterday afternoon. Tsunamis. We've got a lot of stuff going on in the weather and earth science world that we'll delve into here today as we dive on in and discuss. Look at that beautiful sunrise out there this morning. And of course, we'll take this opportunity to check out that almanac from yesterday. 110 degrees was the afternoon high after a morning low of 88, 106, and 85 are the averages for this time of year. 115, that record high from the hellscape year of 2023. And as we take a look outside right now, here's a different angle looking toward downtown Phoenix. And we've got 88 degrees here at this insane hour of 5:30 a.m. 45 is that dew point, so yeah, it's still very dry. Relative humidity 22%, the winds are light and the barometer is rising. Temperatures out there this morning. I see some 70s on the board. 77 at Whitman, 78 in Glendale, 79 for Apache Junction. We got a few more 70s out there. Mostly, though, we're in the 80s, of course. 83 Mesa, 83 in Tempe, 85 in Arcadia, Scottsdale. Let's see, over here at Studio B, 86 degrees. So 79 in Buckeye. Hey, not bad. So a pretty reasonable start to the day, but temperatures this afternoon will once again top out in that 107 to 111 range. So what's going on with this weather pattern? First, we'll check out the satellite picture, and you can see kind of how things have been going the last 16 hours or so. High pressure remains to the east of us. Now, there is this inverted trough that's sitting over New Mexico, and it's trying its best to get into eastern Arizona, but I just think it's going to start to fall apart as it gets into the state by tomorrow. You can clearly see it here on the satellite, though, and it's been the focal point for showers and thunderstorms across New Mexico and even points northward over Colorado, and northwest Mexico. But we're just not going to get much of that in here, I'm afraid. Yes, it will get closer, and we will see some widely scattered storms in the eastern mountains and the southeastern part of the state today. But unfortunately, dry southwesterly flow is just hanging on for dear life here over the south central deserts and further to the west from there. All right, the watch warning map. A few things of note here. First, of course, with that big area of high pressure, we still have heat from central Florida on northward to places like Savannah, Atlanta, Birmingham, Tuscaloosa, Chattanooga, Memphis, Little Rock, Shreveport, Tulsa, Oklahoma, Kansas City, St. Louis, Louisville, Kentucky. It is hot. It's always hot, but it's a little extra hot. Temperatures somewhat above average under that big heat dome. And of course, you combine that with the humidity, and we'll see heat index values in some spots maybe as high as 110 plus degrees, especially over central Florida. We saw some heat indices topping out near 115. And of course, we have a few extreme heat warnings under that as well. Now, further to the north, we're once again dealing with wildfire smoke across parts of Minnesota, Iowa, Wisconsin, the western Great Lakes, as northerly flow has brought down more of that dense smoke from wildfires over Saskatchewan and Manitoba. And we'll continue to see that probably through the end of the week. Now, further to the west, speaking of wildfires, we have some red flag warnings out here in the west with low humidity, breezy conditions, warm temperatures. Obviously, the threat of wildfires continues, and we, of course, have those going on already, but the threat of additional fires will be with us. And that's the problem. Without the monsoon, much of the west will continue to be very, very dry. Also on this map, we've got a tsunami warning for parts of the California coast, tsunami advisories elsewhere. They are still in effect, and they will continue until further notice. I will note, and this is that the text of that tsunami warning for California. So far, I have not heard about significant damage here in the United States. We do have some flooding that I saw. One of the hotels on the beaches of Hilo, Hawaii, the big island of Hawaii. Otherwise, very minor damage there. Some minor damage elsewhere in Alaska. We saw some. The worst of it really is in Petropavlovsky. That's over there in Kamchatka. And, some of the Kuril Islands there definitely had some worse damage. Moderate damage to buildings and some cars and whatnot. But other than that, this obviously could have been a lot worse. Now, we're not completely out of the woods yet, but certainly I think things will begin to improve. Now, we'll have to see as we go through the day today. We'll check out more reports and see if there's been any fatalities or any of that. But so far, and again, I'm just going on information that I've seen from my prep this morning. I have not heard of any. So hopefully that remains the case. All right, convective outlook for today. We've got a few marginal risk zones from around Morgantown and Elkins, West Virginia, all the way up to northern Maine, as well as Kansas City, St. Louis, Chicago, Indianapolis, and over parts of the Lee of the Rockies around Gillette, Wyoming, down toward Denver. We could see some severe storms. Now, in Arizona, the eastern and southeastern portion of the state in the green, we could see a few thunderstorms, but I wouldn't get your hopes up. They will be isolated to perhaps widely scattered at best. Any storms capable of producing some gusty winds and maybe some brief heavy rain and lightning, and that's going to be about it for us for today. The tropics and the Pacific, very active. Five areas of concern. Five on the board right now. Although nothing that is pertinent to us here in the Southwest. 3 tropical waves, and then we've got Kelly and Iona. Let's show you this. This is Iona. It is currently way south of the Hawaiian Island chain. This will move to the west, cross the international date line. This will weaken with time. It already has started to weaken, still a Category 2 hurricane. And then this will start to make that turn more toward the northwest with time. Kelly is not going to be hanging around much longer. This will fizzle out kind of in the wake of Iona. And then you've got those other 3 waves that we'll keep an eye on out there with a very high chance of development over the next 24 to 48 hours. Closer to home, the precipitation outlook valid through Wednesday morning of next week. You don't want to see this graphic. I understand that. Rain amounts in Phoenix, probably nothing. Statewide, the colors just continue to shrivel up on this map, don't they? Rain amounts maybe upwards of 1/3 of an inch over parts of southeast Arizona, but generally at or under 1/10 of an inch in a lot of places. And the trend keeps going down as we continue to see this area of high pressure staying out of position. Southwesterly flow will be the most dominant feature that we have for our weather. We're going to talk about this in more detail as we get to the models right now, have a look at things, see what the future may hold. Here we go, the GFS, the 06Z run. This is valid at 2 o'clock this afternoon. The upper look at 500 millibars, about 18,000 feet off the ground. And it's our semi-permanent feature that seems to be on this board. It's been here all month, ostensibly, that upper low over the Northeast Pacific. Downstream, there's these continued disturbances, these continued waves, upper lows that rotate around the parent low. One is a negative tilt short wave that's coming into the Great Basin, and that's the focus for some showers and storms up that way. But around here, what that's done is that's helped to continue to displace our subtropical ridge. It's well to the east and southeast of us. And so the dominant flow aloft is southwesterly, and that's off the East Pacific. That doesn't bring in any moisture for us. We need a southeast or easterly flow. That's our typical monsoon flow. So what it means down at the surface for the rest of the day today, sunny, hot, dry. High temperatures 107 to 111. Now, for those of you new to the valley, or maybe you watch from other areas, you might say, well, that's the desert. Nah, not really. This is not typical weather for us in July, August, and at least early September. We are typically seeing scattered afternoon and evening showers and storms, higher humidity, and temperatures that actually start to come down this time of the year a little bit because we have the higher humidity and more clouds around. And while there will be some widely scattered afternoon and evening showers and storms over western New Mexico and eastern Arizona, southeast Arizona, they'll be pretty far to the east of us. No threat that we'll see anything in here. So let me show you. This is our high resolution guidance. This is the HRRR at, what is this? This is, 8 o'clock tonight. And I highlight this time because this is where storms might be most numerous. The best dynamics from that aforementioned upper trough are to the east of us, that little inverted trough. And at best, maybe a storm sneaks into Pinal County. And I suppose it's not totally out of the realm of possibilities that maybe an outflow boundary, some gusty winds get toward the lower deserts tonight. I just don't really see that as much of a realistic possibility unless something dramatically changes here. So yeah, those showers and storms will stay pretty far away from us. And temperatures tonight will cool off into the 80s in most spots, maybe upper 70s in the coolest valley locations as dry air will persist. And yeah, this is how dry the air is. Precipitable water values, again, valid tonight, 8 o'clock. Yeah, look at that. I mean, normally, our part of the state this time of the year, precipitable water values are between about 1.25 to 1.4 inches. It's kind of baseline monsoon numbers. And we're about half or a little bit over half of that, 50 to 60% of those values. And even the deeper moisture over southeast Arizona is not all that robust. So that's why we're pretty confident we won't see any storms in here tonight. Let's go to tomorrow, see how things change. That aforementioned trough, that little inverted trough, nudges a little further west, but it's weakening. It'll eventually just sort of wash out by tomorrow night and Friday as it continues to drift toward the west. So again, widely scattered afternoon and evening showers and storms there. A few clouds may come in here tomorrow. And the National Weather Service in Phoenix they're still holding on to a 10% chance of storms in the valley. I am not. There's really, the atmospheric indicators just don't show any meaningful signs that we'll get moisture pushing far enough to the west for any storms in the lower deserts tomorrow. I mean, the chance of rain's not mathematically zero, but I would not even be bold enough to suggest a 10% chance of storms here in Phoenix. So, in a nod to that, high temperature is still 107 to 111. We'll show you, this is the HRRR tomorrow at 5 o'clock. And it's actually even less promising than today's. I guess a few storms maybe over the far eastern rim, the White Mountains, parts of southeast Arizona, and that's about as close as they're going to get. So, this has been just very disappointing, and just another disappointment in a series of disappointments in our monsoon season. And I hate to be the guy that keeps coming on here and bringing you the bad news, but I am just the messenger, and I can't change the models. I can't change the outcome yet. All right, let's keep going. This is Friday. Mostly sunny and just plain old hot. Highs 108 to 112 as our ridge now starts to get suppressed once again, thanks to another upper low that's going to begin to track into the Pacific Northwest. And it's going to displace this ridge a little further south, and we're going to continue a southwesterly flow. Now, the ridge, what's going to wind up happening as we go toward the weekend is going to briefly strengthen again, and we'll see those heights kind of come back up Friday afternoon, Saturday, but the ridge will still be in an unfavorable position. It's south and east of us. It's over West Texas and northern Mexico and southeast New Mexico. And so as a result, southwesterly flow continues. High temperatures, even on Saturday, about 108 to 112. Storm chances, virtually none. I guess there could be a stray storm over the eastern mountains and parts of New Mexico, but even at that, not much to be found. Here's Sunday. Temps might back off a couple of degrees, again, as this ridge kind of is going through a transition with another system passing well to the north. But even at that, I don't think we're going to see any storm chances or anything like that. Not here. Again, an isolated storm somewhere over eastern Arizona, western New Mexico, northern Mexico. But even at that, they'll be very widely spaced. Here's Monday. And Monday's a little bit more interesting. The ridge builds back to the north. And the upper heights are still climbing. We're about 594 to maybe 597 decameters as we go into next week. It might hold off on the higher heights for Monday, but still some push of moisture may occur on Monday. And in spite of my better judgment, I've gone ahead and put in a 10% chance of showers and storms in here on Monday. Going along with the National Weather Service forecast, I generally do not like to deviate from official forecast products. We don't like to send mixed messages here. So going along with that, I've very, very tentatively put in that 10%. Even at that, though, yes, there could be a storm that gets into the lower deserts on Monday with a little surge of moisture coming in, but precipitable water values and mixing ratios and all of the ingredients just are so marginal. I just don't know if we really get a good chance. So if everybody in Phoenix washes their car, maybe that improves the chance, but that's about we're going to need some type of voodoo or rain dance or some type of superstition maybe at this point, because the science is not there for any meaningful chance of rain, at least right now on Monday. Now, of course, things can change, but that's how it looks at this point. Here's Tuesday, and it's kind of the same story. A few showers and storms over eastern Arizona, but here in the valley, we're just hot and dry with high temperatures remaining around 107 to 112 degrees. A week from today, this is Wednesday, the 6th of August. All right, Big Ridge is just sitting right here over the southwest, kind of on top of us, and with upper heights at 594 to 597 decameters, and a ridge sitting where it is, it's not a good position to bring in monsoon moisture. Again, there could be some isolated afternoon storms. That's going to be true every day over east central and southeast Arizona, but here in the lower deserts, just no, I don't see it. Maybe a couple of clouds. It's about the only sensible weather. Continued hot with highs anywhere from about 107 to 113. Here's Thursday the 8th. It's the same story. Not much change. The upper heights may climb to over 597 decameters, though. And so that would result in temperatures maybe warming up a degree or 2 or 3. Here's the end of the forecast period, Friday the 8th. And again, the ridge is drifting a little bit closer to the four corners. That's good. But again, with such an intense ridge, I only think, again, widely scattered afternoon and evening storms over the east central and southeastern portions of the state would be possible, with virtually nothing here in the south central deserts. And until we get a better push of moisture, and a ridge in a slightly better position, a little bit weaker, better thermal profiles. Maybe we'd even need the help of some sort of inverted trough or upper level disturbance. We're just not going to have any meaningful chance of rain. And I know I'm just repeating myself over and over and over. I get it, but it's almost I'm almost in disbelief at this point. All right, but hold on. Before we just completely throw everything out, let's check what the other models are saying. Maybe there's a difference here. So let's take a look at what the European says at the same time. This is next Friday, the 8th of August. Well, it's got our upper high, our subtropical ridge, what we call the monsoon ridge, sitting pretty close to, if not just southwest of El Paso. That's not going to get it done either. That's going to keep a southwesterly flow in place here, so we're dry. Looking at the European AI model. Again, same time, Friday the 8th. It's got the ridge just kind of broadly over the southwest. Not a very good position. Again, there could be a few storms over the higher terrain in that setup, but generally speaking, we're just hot and dry. So let's just expand this out even further. Let's just go all the way, chips all the way in, everything on the table. Here's the Canadian model, Friday the 8th. No. That's, again, broad ridging right over the southwest. Here's the JMA. We're going to the JMA model. Now, this doesn't go out to next Friday. This only goes out to next Wednesday morning, but it's got a ridge over West Texas, and that is also not a very good position, especially in that configuration. Again, southwesterly flow would be in place, and we'd be hot and dry. So, you talk about model consensus and consistency. We're, at least for the next 10 days, we are maybe at the very most generous assessment going to be in a low-grade monsoon, and probably not even that. Looking at rainfall for Phoenix out to the 13th of August. This is off the GFS ensemble, and this is by far the most bullish model output we have, and it's got rain amounts about 1/3 of an inch. That's been pretty consistent on the GFS ensemble, but the GFS ensemble has also been the least accurate this monsoon season so far. European AI, these are under 1/10 of an inch. In fact, they're about 4/100 of it. I mean, I can't even believe this. This is, again, heart of the monsoon, and this looks like the output we'd see in April, May, or maybe early October. That's insane. And then let's go to the Canadian ensemble. There's 21 members in this ensemble. Well, here, the ensemble mean is much higher, favoring over almost 2/3 of an inch. But most of the members show nothing. The spread is significant here. And again, the Canadian model, we don't use it often, or the Canadian ensemble, we don't use it very often because it has a lower accuracy rate. But I just thought I'd show you everything we got, pretty much. All right, let's look at temperatures off the National Blended Models. Above average for the next 10 days. No surprise here. Record-breaking heat, not yet. But if we do see that ridge really build up to 597 to 600 decameters, there's a possibility we could see temperatures approaching record territory at some point out there next week. All right, let's talk about something much more pleasant. How about an earthquake and a tsunami? Yeah, that was nuts yesterday off the Kamchatka Peninsula, about 80 miles southeast of Russia there. And that's an 8.8 earthquake. This will go down as about the 6th strongest earthquake in history, at least in recorded history on this planet. I think the strongest was 9.5 off the coast of Chile in 1960. This is certainly the strongest earthquake we have seen since 2011, since March of 2011, March 11, 2011. So that's impressive. And then, of course, I'm sure you've all seen these videos by now, but this is just an incredible video here. What happened? There's a little bit of audio, but I've turned it down and you can still hear it. Oh my goodness. I don't know about you guys. I don't know if you've ever been in like a Home Depot or one place that has like those shelves that go up 40 feet, like a Costco or something, and you always think this would be a really bad time to have an earthquake. You can see what's going on there too. This is Mother Nature at her finest yesterday. Now, again, it's not to make too much light of it. I know there's been some minor damage in Hawaii. We've had some flooding near a hotel there on the beaches of Hilo. We've had some minor damage in Alaska, more moderate damage in parts of, again, Petropavlovsky there in Kamchatka and the islands there and all that. So, yes, I know there's been some damage, but so far, from what I have heard, no reports of fatalities. And hopefully that remains the case. All right, that's going to do it for the Phoenix, Arizona weather and earth science discussion for today. I know somebody in the comments, Mike, this is weather. It's supposed to be weather, not, I don't care about tsunamis and earthquakes. Remember we showed Alaska that one time for like 2 minutes. We talked about a heat advisory there, and a couple of people lost their minds about that. But sometimes that's what we do here. We're science geeks. If you're watching these videos, you're clearly a weather geek. That means you're kind of a science geek too, right? So that's why we like to cover this stuff from time to time. All right, anyway, that's it for the Phoenix, Arizona weather discussion for today. My next video back here tomorrow morning. Should you happen to enjoy these videos, Be sure to subscribe, like, share, click that notification bell. Leave those comments, questions, and suggestions. If you really like what we're doing here, you want to support the channel, by all means do so. Click that thanks icon below the video here on YouTube, or you can donate to our PayPal, groffshow@gmail.com is the PayPal address, GROFF show@gmail.com. Our Venmo is linked up down below as well. The executive producer of the Phoenix, Arizona weather discussion is my OAO, the sweetest of all time, the Asian sensation, and proprietor of sweetchildaz.com.org and the Facebook page of the same name, Sweet Child Arizona, talking about my Michelle. Check her out, blogs, videos, everything Michelle related, likely Adriana related. It's all linked up down in the description. And our streaming station, it's available 24/7, 365. It's called KMGX. We play a ton of music, have a ton, maybe 2 tons, 3 tons of fun over there. It's a lot of fun. That's kind of what I'm sort of getting at there. So check it out. It's all linked up down in the description. All right. Thank you guys so much for watching. All of your continued support. I can't tell you how much it is so immensely appreciated. Please be safe, stay cool, stay hydrated out there, and you guys have yourselves a delightful rest of your Wednesday.